Hello and good evening again. I realized today that 3 weeks ago I watched another anime series. Is it what got me back into watching it? Like into watching shows in general again. It was Sousou no Frieren, or however it is pronounced. And the only reason I realized I watched it a couple of weeks ago was that I was cleaning up my tabs on my web browser and I still had some clips, some artistic edited videos of it open. And that's when I remembered that I actually watched this because at the time I watched slowly over days. I was enjoying it. I was really sipping it like a reward after work or after having accomplished my goals, but I forgot about it. I forgot all about it. When I remembered the characters, they were memorable at the time. The story was memorable. It was really good. It stayed in my memory in many ways. And now it's all gone. And it made me realize that this ties in with my biggest problem. I keep not learning from my mistakes. And I think whatever is at work there is also at work for making me forget about what's right there, like what I'm looking at, what I'm working through. I've read books and I don't remember anything about them. And even if like, I picked up some of Danko's advice. If you read something and you want to learn it, sum it up after you've read it, and not don't read a line and then write down notes for the line, but read a couple of chapters and then summarize the chapters in your own words, going from your own memory. So I did that for a while with some things, and it worked. But how do I do that with fiction? I guess I can summarize what went on in the story, can summarize the moral of the story in my own words, in my own words. That might help a bit. Yeah, but sometimes I feel like that's not possible. Sometimes it's the experience. And at other times, I don't know what the lesson of it is. I just find it beautiful or moving. I can. Can you sum that up? I don't know how I would sum that up in my own words. Like, how do I make something stick? How do I, in the first place, how do I realize I made a mistake and then somehow sum that up in my own words to make it stick in my brain? Because that's the ideal here. How do you learn from your mistakes like this? And how do you how do you know fiction actually affected you? Because if it can just disappear in 3 weeks like that, do I want to ask, did I even watch it? Like, was I just coping? Was I just consuming emptily? But I do want to give myself the benefit of the doubt. No, I wasn't. It was meaningful. It had an impact. And I guess I have to have faith that this is actually good. I could look into research, but it seems pointless. The answer is either yes, and I could have saved myself the research, or the answer is no. And I don't know. I don't believe that. It would have to be some damning evidence to make me believe that the answer is yes. And even if there is damning evidence, that doesn't mean I would be convinced necessarily. It's one of those things where you're just convinced that consuming things, at least somewhat consciously and mindfully, will affect you. That's why advertising works too, doesn't it? That one is even unconscious, where it's just between a TV show where you're in zombie mode and advertisements come in and you're still affected by that, then yeah, if you're in zombie mode and you get hit by TV advertisements and those affect you in work, then why is it that I can watch a show, I can be affected by many things many times throughout the show, and I can watch it and spend much more time and attention on this thing than a TV advertisement? And somehow it disappears, but the TV advertisement sticks and changes my behavior. That wouldn't make sense. Therefore, it has to have had an impact. Making those mistakes every time, again and again, must have had an impact to them. Advertising was a great example to come up with. So every time, every repetition had meaning. Then what's the meaning of making all of those mistakes and not learning from them? I guess not learning from mistakes is an illusion. You are learning, but you're still doing the mistake. Why are you doing that, Daniel? Then that sounds stupid of you. Stop! Stop! What lesson did I learn from that? Is that just coping? Was I just coping about making mistakes? Was I just coping about huh? Thinking about learning and making mistakes is so confusing. That's what I'm realizing here right now. Today was another example. I was in the middle of the city and I realized, I'm in public. I could record a video like this in public, or I could record any video in public, even because I don't really have any track record of doing that. So I set my mind to that. I shared it with my coach, and I could do it. The best I could do was like talking to the camera, like I'm doing now, but now I have my camera on the tripod. I'm acting like this. I have some distance and I feel like this is a private space. My door is closed. This is my thing here that's going on. Meanwhile, in public, I was like, oh yeah, I'm looking at my phone. I'm dealing with this. I feel like I have this box around me then because I had to wait. I had to give myself this pretext, this excuse to not be shamed, to not be actually doing what I wanted to be doing, which was this sort of thing. Speaking freely to the camera intentionally and clearly letting people know that I'm recording for a YouTube video, let's say, or a video. But then my friend replied to me and he was like, I have a specific question for you. I'm making this new product. I'm scared that making this product will fail, or rather, that I will be unable to fulfill for my clients. And suddenly, I didn't need this box around me anymore. The task he gave me was, let's say, boxed in already, and I could just deal with the box. So, as long as there is the box, and yeah, as long as there is a box, I'll do it. So I need to put the task in the box. And in practical terms, I need to define a clear task and change my perspective with that. Because that was the biggest shift I just got from that. Knowing I have this specific question, I just answered it in public. Like, I don't care what they think. My friend is asking for help. That matters way more to me than anything else in that situation. And I feel like I knew this before too. Like, I know I should break down big tasks. I've broken down big tasks so many times before. Why didn't I just do that? And what did I learn from not breaking down the task there? I mean, I learned I can share this with my friend. I can get some honest feedback from them, but what do you learn? Or what do you get, I guess? And if we change it from learn to get, then we get to stay who we are. Uh, I think I got a lot of perverse enjoyment out of staying who I am for so long. So that's definitely strong, but it still seems kind of off. Like there's more to it. So, what has this video rambling really been about? I started talking about anime, talking about getting back into something, talking about forgetting about it, talking about consumption. Does my consumption really affect me? And that led me to, am I making the same mistakes again? Like, does my input have consequences on me? That was the very general, broad question here. Do my actions or my input have consequences, even if it seems like they don't? And the answer is, I believe they do, yes. And I need to have faith that it's positive. Why do I need to have faith that it's positive? Because I want to change, because I have to believe I'm improving. Not just emptily improving, but I don't think I'm going to change by saying I'm not going to change. I don't believe I can change. So the least I can do is say it, regardless of how much actual belief is behind that. Saying it is a start. Saying is believing, after all. So I assume there's good change in repeating my mistakes. And there is change in watching something and forgetting about it. And I noticed that simply because of faith that change is good. That doesn't quite seem like it. Oh, we noticed that because of advertisement. Because advertising shows even a little bit of repeated stuff, of repeated input, does change consumer behavior. Therefore, things that are much more emotional or things that are much more common, like repeated mistakes or something you consume, must have an impact on you. And it's not just blind faith behind this, it's the evidence of advertising working. So, what do we learn? In short test, looking at advertising as evidence, we know whatever we do, whatever we consume, has an impact on us. And we should believe that this impact is positive for our change and for ourselves. Because if we don't even do that, then it probably won't be. So the least we can do is say it is positive. Still seems unripe, this whole idea, but I'll take it. That's a decent conclusion for today. I'm happy with it. So, thanks and good night.